Today I want to show you how I set up my conceal carry holster. Howdy everybody, welcome back to the channel where our goal is to provide relevant education and accurate information for all things self-defense from the civilian perspective for civilians. My name is Craig. I just got a new holster in from Dark Star Gear. This is their Orion. It's for my Glock 19, but this is a Glock 17 length. This is how it came. And so I'm going to show y'all how I set this up. Now, whatever holster that y'all get, it might come set up a certain way, but essentially it is going to come together or come to you somewhat assembled. Now, all the screws might not be tightened. They're definitely not going to be Loctited, and you might need to change some stuff out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show y'all, I'm going to change some stuff up on this one. Essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this metal clip right here, and I'm going to install some soft loops. I am a soft loops fan. So yeah, I want to show you how I set my holster up. For me, this is going to be an appendix setup. So first off, let's take the metal clip off and install my soft loops. So a lot of times, guys, what you're going to have to do is either when you're unscrewing or installing a new attachment method, you're going to have to put your finger in on the back side to keep this back fastener from rotating. So that's just something to keep in mind. So the first thing that we're going to do with our soft loops is that we've got multiple holes that we can actually place the fastener. This is where we're going to screw it into the holster. This needs to be adjusted to the size of your belt. So most belts are either 1.5 inches, which corresponds to the hole that I'm going to be using, 1.75 inches, which typically corresponds to the second or the middle hole, or 2 inches, which corresponds to the last hole. So the first thing we need to do with our soft loops, we need to adjust it. We need to set it up to our specific belt size. If you're using a clip, then that clip needs to be ordered for the specific belt size that you're carrying. If not, you're going to get a lot of slop and a lot of movement. So once we've decided our belt size and how we need to adjust our soft loops, where we need to put our buttons or our fasteners on it. So I'm going to install these back fasteners right here into this top part, which is where the soft loops are going to attach to the holsters. You can see I've got multiple attachment points on here so that I can make the gun ride lower or ride higher. That is going to come into play significantly when we start to put this on and fine tune it. I'm going to go ahead and start in the middle just to see where that puts us at. Another thing that y'all can see with the multiple adjustment points for your soft loops, and then also down here if you're going to run metal clips, I've got multiple. While this also adjusts the ride height, I can offset to adjust the cant or the angle of that holster if you choose to. So if I wanted to, I could put one fastener up here on that side and then one down here if I wanted to tilt it that way. So that's just another thing to consider when you're setting up your holster. If you're having trouble making sure the threads match up, when you put the screw in, back it up, reverse a few times, and then what it'll do is the lead of that thread will find where it's supposed to go, and then you can finally finish screwing it in. So that'll make sure that you don't strip anything. So once I got everything installed, we know that they're going to snap in. So what we're going to do next, we are going to adjust. I know the soft loops, I've got it set for my belt width, but what we have to do now is actually we have to put the holster on and adjust the ride height. I want to make sure that it rides low enough so that this holster doesn't tip out to the front, but I also need to make sure it's high enough so that I can get these 3 fingers underneath the grip of the pistol on my draw. That's one of the bad things that I see when people come to classes with subpar holsters. They have that holster sunk down in their pants so deep that they can't even get a grip on it to get it out. And a big problem with that is because the holster that they're using doesn't allow them to adjust it. So I've got to adjust my ride height now. So that's what we're going to play with. So with the soft loops in the middle spot on the ride height adjustment, I have plenty of room to get my hand in between my belt, the top of my belt, and the bottom of my pistol. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna adjust and see if I can make the gun sit a little bit deeper, but still have the clearance to get these 3 fingers in the gun so that I can get a good draw stroke. So I'm gonna adjust it, put it back on, and see where that fits. And another thing that you guys might have seen, a little trick that I use with my soft loops when I was adjusting the ride height. So the belt that I wear is a blue Alpha Gear belt from Big Tex Ordnance. I'll probably do a review on that later. But there is still some slack in the soft loops when I put it on normally. There's just a little bit of slack. And so what I like to do is to basically make that gun attached to the belt without any movement whatsoever. I will crisscross my loops, and what that does is that essentially locks that holster into the belt so that it does not move whatsoever. So that's another cool little trick for you guys wearing soft loops. One of the things to remember is as we start using lower and lower holes, it's going to push the holster up. If you want it to ride down, then use the highest attachment point that you can with your loops or whatever attachment method you're going to use to wear it. So testing it with it riding all the way down low, to be honest guys, that is probably, while I can still get my 3 fingers in between the top of my belt to grab the grip, that might be a little bit too deep. I don't think there's enough clearance to do that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna adjust the ride height back to the middle where it was originally, and then I'm gonna wear this and then go get some dry practice in, some live practice in, work on drawing from the holster, see how it conceals, and then from there I can determine, hey, I need to sink it down a little bit deeper, or that might be the perfect fit. Now, let's go over to the wing. So if you're carrying appendix, your holster needs to have a wing. It might be built in, it might be an extra feature that they put on there, but it needs to have a wing. What the wing is designed to do is, because my belt is right here, that wing is pushing up against my belt, which is pushing the grip of the gun back into my body, helping it conceal. One of the cool things that I like about Dark Star Gear's wing is that while it does push the grip back in, it's tapered so that it actually pushes the top of the gun back in as well. So we're getting this action in addition to that action. So we're getting the twist and then that. That allows the gun to conceal a lot better than holsters without one. While we're on the wing, let's talk about retention. So like I said, these 2 screws, I can adjust them out or in, tighten them or loose them, to affect how much this holster is grabbing the gun. Now, just remember, when you put this on your person and you put your belt on, you're gonna get some significant more retention just from the tightness of the belt. So don't make this thing too tight, because if you do, when you put your belt on, you're just adding even more retention to it, and you're gonna have a hell of a time getting it out. So a good rule of thumb, guys, just adjust it however you need to where when you put it in, you can hear that click, and then there it holds it in, right? I can't shake it out. It's keeping it in the holster. And this is a good starting point. Now let's turn to the back side. This is the wedge, the pad. Guys, this is another key element to an appendix holster. So what this wedge does is that V spot between our inner leg and our manhood, that's where this is going to go. What it does is it pushes that muzzle out, right? So it's pushing that muzzle against our body to kick it out a little bit, because when we carry appendix, guys, remember, we're still abiding by the 4 rules. That gun cannot be pointed at us, okay? So when I have this thing on, it is not pointed at my junk. It is not pointed at my femoral artery. It is not pointed at me at any point in time. This wedge kicks the muzzle out to get it away from my body, which in turn tucks the gun back in to my stomach, helping it conceal more. And another thing, and this is critical, and I've talked about this in previous videos, and one of the reasons why I got a longer holster than the gun is you got to remember, when we're carrying appendix, when we adjust that ride height, one of the reasons why people sink that gun down so deep is because as we adjust that ride height up, high in our pants, that gun tends to tilt outward and could potentially have that muzzle pointed at us. It also makes for difficult concealment, and it's just not very comfortable or safe at all. A long holster, a long slided gun, guys, remember, we're trying to conceal the grip, not necessarily the slide. So don't worry about the slide length. I like longer slided guns. Longer slided guns allow more of this wedge, more of this pad to push against you. It allows you to get more adjustment on that ride height so that that gun is not tilting out. So that's one of the reasons why I like longer slided guns. I like holsters that are a little bit longer so that I can get that ride height that I want to, but not have that holster tilt out, right? So just think it's all about pivot points, going back to that seesaw when we were little kids, right? So we got to adjust that ride height, and then we got to make sure that this pad, this wedge, pushes up against our body, kicks the muzzle out, tucks the gun into our body. This wedge tilts it in, you get perfect concealment. Now, you might think that we are done, but we are not. We've got the holster set up, we've got the ride height adjusted, we've got our soft loops adjusted to the correct belt size that we're wearing. Now is the time to apply blue Loctite, guys. Don't apply red, apply blue Loctite. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to unscrew these 4 screws, or any screw that you have on your holster. Unscrew it, apply blue Loctite, screw it back together, and then you should be done. So this video, I'm not sure how long it's going to be. I've got over 30 minutes of footage of me putting this together. So the total time it took me to assemble this was well over 30 minutes. So we need to make sure that our holster is fit specifically to our body, to what we are wearing, to our gun. We can't just pull it out of the box, pull it out of the package, slap it on, ready to go. You got to adjust some things to make it specific to your body so that we can carry comfortably and that we can conceal that gun extremely well, and then also have it be available to draw in the event that you need to use it. Yep, so my Dark Star gear Orion. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If y'all got any questions or anything below about how to set something up or something about holsters, man, go ahead and put them in the comments. I'll do my best to get to them. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Be safe, be smart, be skilled. We'll catch you on the next video.